What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers are ready for the fade against the Minnesota Timberwolves come Tuesday. I cannot wait. I'm excited, as I'm sure many of you are. But one of the things that I've seen a lot of, and not even in regards to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but just the Lakers in general, is the idea that they kind of blew the opportunity, right? That on several occasions they had basically the playoffs in reach and failed to capitalize on that, right? And great example that people bring up is the Rockets game, right? The Rockets game, the Dallas game. Those are the two that people really kind of highlight and go, man, if Anthony Davis played in that Rockets game, we win that Rockets game, or if the Lakers went and signed a center, we probably win that Rockets game, or the Dallas game, if the Lakers didn't sell on that Dallas game and miss the closeout and end up losing on a game winner, we're in it. We're the 6th seed. There we go. We would have been in the playoffs. We would have gotten the rest. We would have gotten everything we needed. And although, yes, that's true, right? Anthony Davis plays that Rockets game. Even if he plays like a quarter worth of game throughout the course, you probably win that game. Or if the Lakers went and signed a center, you probably win that game. There's always that, right? Anthony Davis doesn't have the blunders at the end of the Dallas game. You probably win that game. But here's the thing. You can make that argument for countless things this season, right? I mean, for starters, you can make that argument for starting 2-10 on the season, right? Like, you want to talk about like the Lakers should have been in the playoffs. They didn't start 2-10. You're probably in the playoffs. If the Lakers won 2 games, if they started 4-10, they'd be in the playoffs, right? And they went through this uphill battle and climb. But throughout the course of this season, when you're playing an 82-game season, you're going to have all kinds of blunders and just mishaps and things that cost you games. Every team in the league has it, right? Every team in the league has a game or a moment or several throughout in which it affects the end result, right? That's why you have an 82-game season. And when you play that many games, you're just going to have random moments and flukes, right? Like, what if the refs actually called fouls for the Lakers on game driving attempts, right? Like, what if LeBron didn't miss that closeout the same way Anthony Davis did against the Dallas Mavericks? What if he didn't miss that closeout on the Indiana Pacers, right? Think of how many buzzer beaters we've lost on this year and just moments that we've had or just silly turnovers, right? Like, what if, Russell Westbrook didn't turn the ball over in the Blazers game or do that pull-up to try to get a 2-for-1, when you're up 1, right? Like, what happens if LeBron James and Anthony Davis don't miss half the season? The reality is that it's part of the game of basketball, right? And it's just being able to overcome those things and put yourself in a position, the best position possible to succeed. And the Lakers have done that. The Lakers started the season 2-10, and nobody thought that they were going to go anywhere. I had my hopes. I had my optimism, right? I made videos talking about, that I still believe in this team. You still got LeBron James, still got Anthony Davis. They can turn it around. And they did, right? I mean, even before the trade, they were turning it around slightly. They weren't 8-9 games behind the 8 ball there. There were times where they were closing in and then, they go on a losing streak. And it just didn't seem like they had enough talent without LeBron James and Anthony Davis, especially with them missing games and stuff like that. But when you look at where we were to where we are now, the fact that we are the 7th seed is just mind-blowing in and of itself. Right? And the fact that we even had a chance to be the 5th seed, right? Like, it's crazy. Like, that shouldn't happen at all, given the circumstances the Lakers have been in. And since the trade deadline, right, where we were the 13th seed and we were like 6 games out of 500 or whatever, right? Like, there were questions if we were even going to make the play-in. And we ended up locking up the best position for the play. If there wasn't a play-in, we'd be in the playoffs. We'd be a playoff team. So to go from a team that had like a 2% chance of making the playoffs to being in a playoff position is insane, right? Like, that is in and of itself incredible. For Rob Pelinka to basically turn Russell Westbrook into all the pieces that he did and to basically commit, and live up to his name and commit robbery is insane. Right? It's just you look at it and you go, that shouldn't have happened. This type of turnaround shouldn't have happened. And a turnaround so much that like the Lakers, it wasn't just like a turnaround where it's like, oh, the Lakers are like okay. No, Lakers are really good. They have the best record, second best record since the trade deadline in the entire league, the best in the West, if I'm not mistaken. They have a top defense, a top offense, right? You have two top 10 superstars in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You got legit like role guys, shooting, defense, wings, which was a big problem, right? You got D'Lo and Austin Reeves that you can make a case for either of those two to be the third option. It's incredible the turnaround and the excitement that we should have as Laker fans. You can't change the past, but what you can do is you can look forward to the future and you can, put your head down and keep charging forward. And that's life in general, right? We've all been in circumstances that like, it's like, man, if this just happened, I would have been there, think of like a car accident, right? It's like if you were just a moment earlier or a moment later, you would have avoided it. But sometimes things are just meant to be. Sometimes things are just unavoidable, right? Sometimes things just happen. And it's through the course of life, right? Well, that's basketball. It's you're playing 82 games over the course of X amount of months, and you're gonna have these ups and flows. Basketball in general, by game basis, is a game of runs, right? You make a run, they make a run. You make a run, they make a run. And then whoever finishes on the best run ends up winning the game. That's usually how it works. That's the season, right? It's not like teams, very rarely, there's only been a handful of times where a team has won, like 23 straight games. Usually it's like a team wins 5 or 6 in a row, and then they lose 2 or 3 in a row. And then they win 5 or 6 in a row. And then they lose 2 or 3 in a row. And then they win one, lose one, win one. It's like that's the up and flow, the roller coaster of a season. I just don't think we can look at and go, man, if this happened or that happened, because you can also make the argument the other way. Like what if, for example, like Matt Ryan didn't tie that game? There's another loss. What if LeBron didn't hit that game winner in Utah? That could have been another loss, right? Like there's countless moments that you can look back at and go, well, the Lakers could have won this game because of that, right? Okay, yeah, you're right. But you could also look back throughout the season and go, if this, and this didn't happen, the Lakers would have lost that game. So there's two sides to the coin always. But the Lakers are now in a position to have success with a new roster and a new team. They're in the 7th seed. You win that game. You get 4 days rest. And now you're jumping into the playoffs against the Memphis Grizzlies and have there's no easy road to an NBA championship, especially in the Western Conference with all the teams. But you have a very solid road given the way that this Lakers team is constructed. You're playing the Memphis Grizzlies, again, assuming that we beat the Timberwolves, right? But let's say you beat the Timberwolves. Then your path is the Memphis Grizzlies, which I think the Lakers can absolutely beat, and I think they match up beautifully against. And they don't have to worry about guys like Steven Adams and Brandon Clark and stuff like that. So, they have the size advantage. And then if you win that series, now you're playing either the Warriors or the Kings, which I think both of those teams you match up brilliantly with, and you could beat both of those teams. And then you're playing one of the Clippers, Suns, and likely Nuggets, which all of those teams I think the Lakers match up well with, right? Especially Denver. I think the Lakers can really beat Denver, right? And most people kind of feel that way. So it's the positivity, right? Like we're where we're at. We shouldn't even have been where we are at. So to sit there and go, oh man, I wish we would have done that. I understand the idea of like, man, you don't want to be in the play-in. You don't want to run the risk because just as likely as it is the Lakers, win on Tuesday and get into the playoffs, there's also the chance that, Minnesota just gets hot and it ends up beating us. And, now we got to go into another playing game. And then maybe that team just gets hot, or like Lakers just don't show up. And now you're out of the playoffs, right? 2021 Warriors, right? They were hot. They were looking good. They were bouncing back. Play the Lakers, lose the Lakers. Oh, no big deal. And then boom, like next thing you know, they're out of the playoffs, right? It happens. But I don't think that will happen with the Lakers. I'm confident that they get the win. I'm confident that the job gets finished. But to look back and go like, oh, well, if this, and this happened, I just think, why? What's the point? We're here now. Let's focus on the task at hand. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. I'm excited for it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.